C1. You are listening at FameTV.info. The first ray of dawn streaked across the horizon, and Fu Cixi opened his eyes. It was yet another beautiful day. The husband beside her, with his flawless sleeping visage, did not seem like a 32-year-old man at all. On the contrary, his face was completely unblemished that he was so lucky to have found such a perfect husband. He carefully moved his body and got off the bed, closing the door behind him. With her waist tied up, cooking breakfast for her husband was her duty as a wife, and Fu Cixi enjoyed this kind of light and warm life of hers. The child was now 4 months old, and he had married her today for exactly 3 months. 3 months seemed like a blink of an eye, but every day, she was able to live a long life. It was as if 3 years had passed, and she was gradually getting used to the existence of this child. The fact that she was going to be a mother. She married a surgeon named Tang that in less than half a year, her life had completely changed. Half a year ago, she was still a university student who was worried about getting a job even before graduation. Her boyfriend split legs, her best friend betrayed her. The drama that she had gotten used to was all happening to her. She let nature take its course. After all, she didn't know how to drink. She actually drank a bottle of wine that was as strong as Old Bai's dry wine and had a magnificent show of her own. Night. Love has lost my chastity of more than 20 years, however. There was a saying that when a person was in trouble, no one could stop them. After a month, he realized that he was pregnant and there were only 2 ways to go. One was to go to the 55 hospital and get rid of the child. Then he would pretend that nothing had happened. 2 was. If you find a man who doesn't mind you getting pregnant, you can marry him off. There is also a saying that God opens a window for you when he closes a door for you. Amen, such a strange life. When Fu Cixi went to the hospital to perform an abortion, he accidentally bumped into one of them. Her perfect husband at the moment, Tang Mufan. Fu Cixi still remembered that time when the test forms were scattered all over the place. When the other party picked up one of them, her beautiful and deep eyes seemed to have gained a deeper understanding as her lips curled up into a smile. Abortion isn't good for a girl. At that time, Fu Cixi looked like a different person. The young girl was at a loss when her big mistake was seen through. She lowered her head and her lips were pale. Unmarried pregnancy. His voice was truly pleasant to hear, especially the low voice that seemed to be mixed with an unintentional silence. It was like an invisible string, stirring her thoughts from time to time. Unmarried pregnancy, single mother, unknown father. These words had already tortured Fu Cixi to death in that month. He stammered and did not speak, but his eyebrows were knitted together, obviously wanting to get back his examination form from the doctor's hands as soon as possible, and leave quickly. But his following words, Fu Cixi thought that she would never forget them in her entire life. Yes, I happen to lack a wife and children. Missing. Fu Cixi suddenly raised his head, and those pair of large eyes clearly saw the facial features of the man who was taller than her by a head. Shocked, his first reaction was that this man was really handsome. Second response. He said he needed a wife and children. So. As a result, what happened after that happened without any warning. It was only when the marriage certificate, the incredibly dazzling red book in his hand, and the husband's name was clearly written with the 3 words Tang Mufan, that Fu Cixi finally came to his senses. Blink marriage. Wasn't this speed way too fast? She went to the hospital too. I didn't expect to find a man who earns more than 10,000 yuan a month. He looks like 100 points. He has a car and a room. Either the world had gone mad, or Fu Cixi was daydreaming again. Then, the matter of the marriage and pregnancy was simultaneously told to the family. His mother's terrible condemnation was met with laughter when she saw her perfect son. Lol. Within half a month, she had lived a normal married life with him. He moved into his apartment, slept in a room, slept in a bed. Of course, you can't have sex for the first 3 months of pregnancy, so. He did not touch her, but slept with her in his arms at night. Although he was nervous, he couldn't refuse. They are husband and wife. But, he was also a stranger whom he had just met. Without a doubt that in the days that followed, Tang Mufan was like a creature that Fu Sisi found difficult to study. Even though there was clearly so much distance between them, there were only a few words from him that made it impossible for her not to get closer. The respectful newlyweds seemed a little more sweet than on that floor. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.